There we go. Thank you.
Hello there. This is Kyle Krueger, part of Krueger with a Dot. And right here is my guest, the Fiction Addiction guy.
OBS. Thank you.
So, I wanted to ask you, since I've been a longtime fan of yours.
Oh, that's nice.
Since your horrible horror days.
That's a long time.
In fact, my favorite review of horrible horror you did was your review of Friday the 13th Part 9, or not in canon. Jason's Dead, the final Friday. Or Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday.
That's the one you're thinking of, yes.
Yeah, that movie sucks.
It does. It very much does.
This is my favorite review you did. You know why? Because every joke you did just nailed it.
I'm glad you think so. I don't remember everything from that one anymore. It's been a long-ass time since I rewatched any of my stuff. But I do remember things like Ted Bundy bathing salts or stuff like that. And Jason patties, I believe, was that one?
Yeah, like...
Yeah, that's been a while.
You know, I hope one day some guy makes an actual Friday the 13th Part 9.
That would be cool.
But sadly, we live in a universe where the fifth movie in the series does not even have Jason in it, so...
Things happen.
I don't think that was your best review, in my opinion. Not the Jason Goes to Hell one is your best review. It's just your Friday the 13th Part 5 review I just don't think is your best review.
I believe that was among the first 5 videos where I obviously had no idea what I was doing, so no wonder.
Can I just admit that I thought Friday the 13th Part 5, The New Beginning, I thought that was the beginning of Jason becoming a zombie, but I was wrong. That would have been an accurate title.
There's so many movies, it's hard to keep track of. Don't blame yourself.
Right. Sorry, just got a call. It's, my mom. I can't answer it because of the podcast.
Fair enough.
So, what's Fiction Addiction?
Fiction Addiction is just me getting a chance to talk about other stuff, too. I went into detail about why I made a second channel back when I ended the old one. And really, it was just that the other stuff was too limiting. I love a lot of stuff. I love a lot of cartoons, a lot of games, a lot of comics, a lot of movies, of all kinds. And it just got too samey to only talk about one genre. So Fiction Addiction is a playground for me to share the weird shit I find. Or share my thoughts on the good stuff or the bad stuff. It's just a playground for me, basically.
Alright. So what's your favorite Fiction Addiction review?
That's a tough one. I'm actually very fond of the one that's coming out this Sunday after we're recording this, but you'll see. I think recently one of my favorites would be An Extremely Goofy Movie. I really enjoyed that one. There's a lot of very simple but very funny gags. It's amazing what you can do with a little slow motion and 2 sound effects. And just, I love the original Goofy movie so much, so actually giving genuine criticism and praising a Disney sequel for the things it does right, it's always more fun for me to both have good things and bad things to talk about.
I think
give credit where credit is due. I really like that one.
I think An Extremely Goofy Movie, that was the movie I watched a lot when I was little. I love that movie. Yeah, it's not as good as the original Goofy movie, but I still think it's a good movie. Better than all the other sequel movies.
It's a perfectly fine little movie. I enjoy it. I've seen it more than once, so that should say something.
Right. So anyways, like, my favorite review you did was Bride Wars.
Oh, God.
I love that review so much.
Yeah, that's me when I'm pissed off.
Like, I hate Bride Wars. I hate that movie.
I genuinely do. The story I tell in that movie about working at a review show, that is a true story. It is absolutely horrendous.
So
I've never seen people be so unanimously against a film as that one.
So how bad did that female reviewer trash that movie?
I don't remember her exact words. She was not in the studio. She was on camera. I think she was broadcasted. She treated it very professionally. She was that kind of polite, aggressive about it. Basically just calling it one of the worst things she's ever seen. It wasn't like a verbal threat. She wasn't cussing it or anything. but she definitely did not approve.
Here's what I think about the movie. It sucks. It is one of the... No, it's not one of the worst movies. Like, you can forget this movie. This movie is so bad. It's not even so bad it's good. It's not even so bad it's tolerable. It's so bad that you just need to ignore it.
The thing about it is, I'm usually lenient on smaller productions, but comedies at about Bright Wars level can cost up to $30 to $50 million.
How?
And at that rate, there's just no excuse for being that. I don't know what its exact budget is. I could be wrong here, but it's definitely not a small budget when you have people like Anne Hathaway in it. But Jesus, man, there's just no excuse when you're at that point.
You know what they should have done with that money? Send it to charity, or give it to starving kids in Africa. I bet they can make a better film than this.
You have to remember that movies are a business. The smaller movies have to be made to be able to make money for the bigger ones. So I can forgive a lot of not very good movies for that. But Bright Wars is just downright offensive, and that's why it pisses me off so much.
Can we just admit that movie never existed?
I would like to live in that universe, yes.
Right. So anyways, I love shows you like The Loud House.
I do enjoy Loud House very much, yes. I mean, I try to like most things. When I did Horrible Horror, almost everybody who did these kinds of review videos focused only on bad stuff because it's easy to rip on stuff you don't like. But I have a few rules about new shows. I always give it a couple episodes. I always look for things to like first, and then I look for things I don't like. A movie really has to piss me off for me to just hate it without wanting to give some credit somewhere. I'll always try to find one thing. But yeah, Loud House is up there. What else? Do you want me to list some stuff I enjoy?
I love Steven Universe. I
definitely do. I wouldn't have made 4 videos about it if I didn't.
Paradox is my favorite.
She's fun. She's very fun.
You're right. She is a walking, talking Dorito.
That's what people call her.
The walking, talking Dorito. I think she's lime-flavored Dorito.
I think that's the joke that's circulating the internet about her, yeah.
I do like shows like My Life as a Teenage Robot. I'm not a big fan of the show, but I do respect it.
I enjoy its brand of comedy very much and its retro style. I haven't watched it since I watched it first time a couple of years ago, but I definitely do enjoy it.
I think one of the things I like about your top 10 list is that we get to know more about you. We get to know more about your personality, your likes, your interests.
Which one are we talking about? Just in general?
Just in general.
Okay, cool.
One of my favorite being your Usagi Yojimbo. Usagi Yojimbo. Sorry.
Yeah, you got it right. Yeah, that was really fun to make. First of all, it was my first comic book review. I was really worried about that for a while. Because I didn't know how to make it look interesting, and I just, screw it. Just go for it and talk. Because that's one of my few videos where I make almost no jokes. I just wanted to show some gratitude for the great stories I've been told, and to give a little attention to Stan Sakai. Now, I'm a pretty small guy on the internet. I can't exactly give him a huge boost. But it's one of those series that has a lot of very loyal fans, but very few of which spread the word in that way. So I saw that YouTube had almost nothing about this character, and I was like, okay, that makes it my turn then. And apparently it paid off. Stan Sakai actually saw it, and I was very flattered by that.
Wow, dude. That's awesome. That's really awesome.
It is. He watched it, and he wrote to me on Facebook about how much he liked it. That's very flattering.
All right. So I like your Usagi Yojimbo episodes reviews. They're fun. My favorite joke, do you know what my favorite joke is?
Go ahead.
Your friend's name's Lunchbox?
That's just me proving myself to be a slight bit of a weeb, but yeah.
I also like the Jason Mewes joke, because nobody has referenced Jason Mewes in a long time.
A friend and I are very, very fond of Jay and Silent Bob. We pretty much can't meet each other without doing the motherfucker rap. Which I also do in Jason vs. Freddy, for that very same reason. Freddy vs. Jason, sorry. That they do in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. We always do that one, and we know it by heart. And he's basically I don't know who's the Jason Mewes and who's the Kevin Smith, but we have a lot of fun with it. So yeah, I love those two, and when I get the chance, I will reference it.
Well, one of the things that I actually like about your reviews is that you're like you know how to mix both humor and being analytical very well, because a lot of people, they either some people are more analytical, some people are more comedical than others, but you can do it both really good well.
Thank you. I try. That's kind of my point with it. Like, I'm the kind of guy who, after I watch something, will read the IMDb trivia page and the TV tropes page to get an idea of what other people think and some funny stories behind it. And pretty much the way I've come to know so much stuff is when I watch something and they're obviously referencing something I don't know what is, I look it up. Because there's so much stuff out there, and I just want to share the fun stuff I find. And I find obscure stuff that nobody knows about really, really interesting, even when it's awful or great or whatever. And I just want to share the wealth, basically. So I try to be informative, and I'm glad that you think I managed that. And being funny is just a bonus then. Right,
it is. So, another review I actually liked in your review was your review of the 2007 remake of Halloween.
Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun to me.
It's obviously you're not a fan of the remake, because there is some, in my opinion, it does do some things right. Like when it does try to do the original, that's where that's where it actually does get some good points. But when it does something original, like the Michael Myers stuff, it just doesn't work. Like, it seems like you're watching a different movie rather than a Halloween movie. It's like you're watching a different slasher movie.
I try to defend remakes on a general level because I don't think they're inherently bad. And rehashing old material is always tricky. If you change too much, people are going to complain. If you do too much of the same, people are going to complain. You can basically never win, so I try to judge them on their own merits. And my gripe with Halloween 2007 isn't so much that it's darker or grimier or more violent, because all that is fine by me. It's mostly that it tries way too hard in everything, and I just don't agree with the style. I love Rob Zombie's other work, but I don't think he was the right choice for this one. That's just me, and that's why I had that long rant at the end where I really try to make it clear that I respect the man. I don't want to piss anyone off with my videos.
I like Rob Zombie. I like Rob Zombie. He's not a bad person. He's awesome. But
he's pretty cool.
But the problem is that, like, I do respect him as a director, but it's just I don't respect his Halloween franchise.
Yeah, I might talk about 2 someday. I honestly barely even remember what happened.
2. I hate his remake of Halloween 2. It's one of the worst.
It's a sequel to the remake, not a remake of 2.
I know, but like it's just, it's not even a movie. It's. Let me give you what I think about it. It sucks. This is Rob Zombie's worst film. You thought his remake of Halloween was worse. It was bad. This movie, what happens when you take a slasher movie, a well-known slasher franchise, and try to be artsy with it.
Yeah. He does love to play with visuals. It's just a matter of where and when he does it. It works much better in Lords of Salem, if you ask me.
But it just doesn't work here, because it would work. Like, here's some people say, well, it could have worked for a series like Hellraiser or A Nightmare on Elm Street, or hell, one person said it could work in that Leprechaun slasher film series. I was like,
that's actually kind of good.
Yeah, my friend, that's one of my friends, and I was like, actually, that is possible. That is actually possible. But you get what I mean.
I get it.
The acting is not good in the sequel. The only one
I don't remember it clearly enough, so.
The only one that tries is Brad Dourif, but that's mostly because Brad Dourif is an actor. Oh, that movie. I actually met the guy who played Michael Myers in that movie.
Okay.
He's actually a nice dude.
Probably. Most people. I like to think most people are.
Right, but it's just I feel bad for him in this movie because he has to play a hobo Michael Myers.
Yeah, yeah. He probably hears about that a lot.
I hope he gets a better rap. I hope he does something good in the future.
Yeah.
So, I want to ask you, what are your favorite horror movies?
That's a really difficult one, because that's actually why I don't make more top 10 lists than I do, because I'm very bad at picking one definitive favorite. It can depend on my mood, it can depend on subjects I'm particularly interested in lately. A couple favorites, that's really, really tough. It's not really a horror movie in that sense, but the original Wicker Man is one of my favorite movies in general, with Christopher Lee. And I'm actually kind of looking at my shelf to try and get an idea now. I was very, very fond of The Babadook when that came out. That was way high on the list. I haven't seen it since then, but I strongly doubt I'll dislike it if I see it again. Obviously, the big three, Friday the 13th, Halloween, they have some candidates up there. The Changeling. I'm going to pick one and say The Changeling from 1980. That is my golden standard for ghost movies now. I love that movie.
I need to see it.
Scott, I believe. Too few people have, but if you watch it, you will realize that a lot of ghost movies borrow a lot from that one.
They do?
They absolutely do. It's one of those cases where you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to do something new. You just have to do what exists extremely well. And The Changeling does that. That's one that's very high up there. I'm gonna say that one.
One of my favorite movies that you introduced me was the VHS series.
Yes, the first two VHS movies are really fun.
I had an idea to make it a horror anthology movie.
Yeah?
Well, I got the idea from the original Goosebumps show, Nightmare Room, The Haunting Hour, not the movie, the anthology series. And I think I can make an anthology movie. How hard it can be.
It can be very hard to make anything, but yeah, go for it.
Like I had an idea where it's an idea of a hunt. It's about one of the segments, or one of the chapters in that movie is that there's these hunters that want to hunt to an evil bear, to this evil monster bear. So, it's like a better version of Grizzly, except it's done in a way where it's more of a found footage movie.
I haven't actually watched Grizzly. I should get around to that.
It sucks. Don't watch it.
No, but I want to see it.
Well, if you do, then I promise you that you will not get that hour back.
It's fine. I watch a lot of weird shit.
All right. So, but I do like anthology movies. There's no pattern. The stories are their own thing.
Often, yes.
You also got me into Trick or Treat, which is a fun movie.
Trick or Treat is excellent, if you ask me. That's just same fellow made Krampus much later, which is also just brilliantly done. So I definitely want to keep an eye on that guy. I do believe Trick or Treat 2 is finally on the way.
Ooh, this is going to be great.
But it keeps going on and off. I don't know for certain. Don't quote me on that. But I will be there when Trick or Treat 2 happens. You can bet on that.
So, do you like video games?
I do. I don't have the biggest collection in the world. I also don't have any money to actually buy any. But yes, I do. I have made a couple game reviews, and I want to do more, but movies and shows are my main thing. But yes, certainly, I own a 3DS, I own an Xbox 360, an SNES, a Sega Genesis, PS4, PS3, PS2, Wii U. So I like to think I do like games.
Oh, that's cool, man. I actually have, I only have 3 systems. An Xbox 360, a GameCube, and a Nintendo 64.
Alright.
I play Pokemon Stadium a lot.
I didn't have, other than the Game Boy, I didn't have a single Nintendo console until I bought a Wii. So, I was a PlayStation loyalist until Xbox 360 came out, basically.
Right. So, what's your favorite game?
That's another difficult one. For sheer sentimental value, I've already talked about this in the top 5 JRPGs video. That would be Breath of Fire 3. Because that was just one of the first... Keep in mind, I'm not a native English speaker. I'm born in Denmark. That was one of my first English language big adventures that I completed on my own, with no help. I mean, okay, that was one... There's a part of it where you have to make sushi for some dude, and it's fucking impossible, so I had to look that up. But it was one of my first big gaming adventures. Along with that, I'd say Grim Fandango, which I've played a dozen times with one of my friends. We've beaten it a ton of times. I did my Let's Play of it last year, I believe. It's just a great game. It's a fantastic style. It's a unique mix of genres. And I honestly very much admire Tim Schafer. Crash Bandicoot Warped is very high up there. I didn't actually own that as a kid, but I borrowed it from my friend a lot of times. And I still haven't played the Insane Trilogy version. I have played the other two, though.
That's awesome, man. I actually have a lot of favorite video games.
Sorry, what?
I actually have a lot of favorite video games.
It's hard to pick favorites, but those three, I would say, are the ones I've probably enjoyed the most.
I also like your drawings.
Thank you.
I have a DeviantArt page as well, and I love to draw. I love to express myself, and your drawings are amazing.
I don't know about that, but thank you all the same.
I should fave some of them.
Go ahead. I mean, I try. I do wish I would start drawing more than just fan art. I do have my own ideas. I'm just not yet terribly comfortable with them, so eventually you'll probably see some of my own stuff.
Right, right. So do you have your own ideas, like your own stories to do?
I do. I mean, you've seen me do short films, and I definitely want to do more, but I don't have the means or the location, and that's incredibly annoying, because my ideas tend to go a little above budget. But I have several features in my head. I have a couple shorts. I have been developing a small Danish superhero universe in my head since, like, I ended school, basically, and I'd like to draw those characters, actually.
Ooh, Danish superheroes. Are they original, or
They
not?
are original. They're my creation.
Ooh.
Denmark... I don't want to talk too much shit, but Denmark is one of those countries where we've sort of brainwashed ourselves into believing that all we can do is social drama, comedy, or documentaries. And everything else we should leave to America. And a lot of people here hate that, but that's how the industry is working right now. So when I was in school studying film and media sciences, for my final project, my bachelor project, I wrote a script about 3 Danish superheroes who have their monthly meeting just in some dude's living room and talk about their work like it's a job they're getting tired of because nobody respects them. So there'd be no superheroics in that story, nothing action-oriented would happen. They just kind of talk about it and be annoyed at the attitude they feel they meet.
Oh, so it's...
And a newcomer would then teach them to appreciate their work.
So it's more like, sort of like a Kevin Smith-ish.
You could say that, yes. But then I started really liking those characters, and I do have a couple stories for each of them that are more classic.
Alright, so...
I don't want to parody or demean the genre. That wasn't my intention. I wanted to show respect. So I have definitely developed... I think one of them I've developed a small roster of villains for, too. But I'm trying to flesh them out properly.
Alright, so what are the heroes' names?
See, that's the thing. They're a little hard to translate, because since they're Danish superheroes, I want their names to be Danish and sound good in Danish.
Oh.
Which is surprisingly hard, by the way. But one of them doesn't have a name yet, because he hasn't even come up with his superhero identity yet. He's the new guy. But there is... Well, he's a little hard to translate. Probably the closest I could get would be the Guardsman.
The Guardsman.
Although literally he would be Royal Guard, named after the Danish Royal Guard that guards our queen. Because his outfit is written white. He's trying to sort of be a Danish version of Captain America. To the point where he even has a shield, but that's actually a pun that I can't explain. So he has this red and white outfit, and he really wants to be a classic ideal of a superhero. Other than that, he and Captain America have very little in common. He just wants to be to Denmark what Captain America is to the US. Then there's Phantom, or
Phantom.
Ghost. I'm sort of settling on it. He is he's always dressed in white, black, sort of skin mask. You know, those morph suit masks, underneath a white hoodie. Always dressed in white. Turns into smoke. Can glow in the dark. Can phase through doors. All sorts of stuff. All the ghostly stuff. He's a very fun-loving guy. He's sort of like the Beast Boy from Teen Titans in my team. He's the fun one.
Yes.
But when he's out, he adopts a scary persona because he's an actor when he's not being Ghost. I kind of like the contrast of that, of the fun guy having to be the most scary guy on the team. And then this, don't make fun of me for this name, it makes sense in Danish, but this guy would be named Night Raven. And that actually we have a word in Denmark that is natteravn, which literally means night raven, but it's the same as calling someone a night owl. It's just people who are out late at night. And we have an organization of people that make sure that drunk young people get home safe, that call themselves the Night Ravens. This guy would sort of be the Batman of the team, in the sense that he meets slightly darker villains and has lower key superpowers. And basically, he fights with a pair of batons. He doesn't have Batman's wealth, and he always carries first aid stuff to help victims.
So I can see where, so he's sort of like the medical dude of the gear.
Not necessarily. He's not necessarily a doctor, but he will stop and treat a victim rather than chase a villain.
That's nice.
But he's still the Batman of the group in the sense that he's a little more gruff.
He's serious-minded all the time.
Mostly. And a little more aggressive than the others, even though he's actually a big softie. And like I said, he faces far darker villains. The villains I've come up with for this guy are insane.
Ooh, I like insane.
Yeah, we're talking people that spit acid, or serial killers that change body shape every time you meet them. Like, really creepy stuff with that guy.
Or a slasher film.
Guardsman has lightning powers and a thunder voice, like he can do a sonic scream. Not a scream, a yell more like, because he got his powers from Thor.
Hey, which
My
one?
version of Thor, not the Marvel Thor.
Oh, so the actual Thor.
Yes. Do keep in mind, I'm Danish. I'm trying to make these characters as Danish as possible.
Right.
And the last guy is, like I said, a new guy. Doesn't have a superhero identity. I haven't even come up with a costume for him. And literally all he has is good old-fashioned super strength. And he has some insecurities about that because it's not very flashy or specific. So those are the four I've come up with more. Like I said, I've made a small little universe, but I want to develop them properly before I do anything with them.
I think this could be an awesome series.
My idea was to make that short where we just sit and talk with these guys, and then make one short for each. Not necessarily a universe per se, but money, special effects, all that
hard
stuff. It's difficult. But yeah, I do. You just asked if I had ideas. Yes, I have ideas. A couple horror stories, something vaguely Last of Us inspired, about a raider that befriends a man he captures in a post-apocalyptic setting. So yeah, I'd like to say a few. I even want to do something Muppet style with a puppet.
Ooh, puppets.
Yeah. It wouldn't be a Muppet show, it wouldn't be a comedy, it would be a little more grounded, but yes, I do have an idea with a puppet.
I could actually do some voice acting.
We'll have to see. It wouldn't be in English. I make my films in Danish to avoid hokey accents ruining the fun.
Oh. I just wanted to tell you I like voice acting, and
Yeah, well, I'll keep that in mind.
voice acting to me is awesome. It's so amazing.
I'd love to try it sometime, but I don't really have any voice training, so.
All right. So I want to ask you also this awesome question.
Okay.
All right. So are you a Marvel or DC guy?
I'm both, thank you. I guess in a sense, there are more characters from DC that I love the concept of. But my first superhero was Spider-Man. My first comics were Marvel Comics. All that good stuff. But I really, really dislike this rift there is between the fandoms. There's nothing wrong with preferring one over the other, but I strongly, strongly dislike this notion that one has to be better, and that people have to fight about it. They're all superheroes. They're all out there to save the day. They all have similar concepts when you get right down to it. Just enjoy the stories. It's pretty much all I'm asking.
Right. I want to to me, like, they're both good. While I prefer DC more, I don't get into fights with people about that. You know why? Because that's their opinion, and I respect them.
I like to avoid that, yes. I
also
don't much like fandom hate in general.
Right. I also feel like actually my favorite superhero is not a Batman or a Spider-Man.
Do tell.
It's Beast Boy.
Beast Boy is a lot of fun. I do like him.
Like here's why I like Beast Boy. See a lot of series, like Beast Boy to me is like that one example of a comic relief done right, where he's funny, yes, but he also does have this mature side. He doesn't show it a lot, but when he does show it, it does show that he is mature in his own way. He just doesn't show it. Yeah. He's kind of nice. I actually read the original comics the original Mark Wolfman and George Perez Teen Titans comics.
I haven't read many. I'd love to read more.
I read them, and Beast Boy is fun. I will admit he's not as good as the Teen Titans Beast Boy from the 2003 series, but he's still like a good hero, and I wish I was more like that hero. But in fact, I actually want to make a Beast Boy animated series where it takes place in a different universe.
That could be fun.
Well, it's just that I would get a new voice actor. I would get a new like animation style. I would actually make Beast Boy's backstory like the same but different.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's actually going to be really different.
Different is good. I appreciate differences. I just don't necessarily agree with them when I see them. That's a different matter entirely. But that's what I said before about remakes and reboots and retcons and stuff. I always try to give things a chance, personally. I'd rather live in a universe where every now and then someone does something new that fails than everybody doing the same all the time. That's just me.
I'm going to admit that, so I want to ask you another question.
Yes.
What is another favorite review I liked about my favorite review was your Reptilicus review.
Oh god, that's long ago. Yeah.
I do not like Reptilicus. I'm glad Mystery Science Theater 3000 ripped on it.
I haven't seen that yet.
But to be honestly fair, Danish deserves better. Denmark deserves better. I'm just saying Denmark deserves better.
That's what I'm saying. It's because of movies like that we keep telling ourselves we can't do better. Because whenever we do, we don't get any money to do it.
I think you guys can do better.
We can. We have made some excellent horror stuff. It's just extremely rare.
Can you send me
if you ever watch the original Night Watch, then you'll see some neat stuff.
Ooh. Well, it's just that I want. See, I had this idea for a Godzilla movie.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna like this one.
Go ahead.
Okay, so in this movie, so it's like Godzilla Final War, except there's actually monsters that were never in Godzilla Final War, like Barugan, Varan or Varan. I don't know, Varan.
Yeah, Varan.
The Komodo dragon that has the powers of a flying squirrel. Then
yeah, that one. That's Varan.
Right. And here's the funny thing. You know that crappy Giant Claw movie?
Oh shit, the bird. Yes.
Well, guess what? He's in it, but he has a better design. I promise you the design is better than the original. But Reptilicus will be in it.
See, the thing about Reptilicus is he's a really cool idea. Because he's basically a real Norse Scandinavian dragon, which hasn't been done much in movies. So it's just such a shame that he's essentially a sock puppet.
But in this version...
Oh, good old Reptilicus.
Reptilicus, like, I think he's, like... don't get me wrong, do you, like... I actually want to make Reptilicus more menacing in my movies, if I ever do a Godzilla movie. Would he lose the Godzilla? Probably, yeah, he would. But to be honestly fair, he would be menacing.
He could be. Like I said, well, he looks dopey as hell, but the idea of the design is really good. And there are many people who wish they could get the real Reptilicus, but there you go.
What's the real Reptilicus?
Oh crap, that was when the channel was new. Oh boy.
What's the real Reptilicus?
Just what this Reptilicus could have been, I think. Maybe
one day somebody will remake that movie and it will be better.
It would be awesome. I'm not holding my breath, but it would be awesome.
I'm gonna say this, man. You are an awesome guest.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate you coming on my show.
Sure.
Sorry we had to keep this short, it's just that dinner and stuff like that.
I don't mind.
But I want to stand my hand. Well...
Are we doing this?
Yeah, a friendship with you.
Sure.
Because I think you're an awesome dude, both in review and real life.
Thanks.
I want to go on The Amazing Race, and I want to visit Denmark.
The Amazing Race?
Sorry,
I don't know what that is.
It's a reality game show.
Oh, it's what that Total Drama season was based on. Yeah, I get it.
Right, but guess what? Like, I want to go with my friend Dusty, and when we go to Denmark, I'm gonna give everybody in Denmark a hug.
You'd be surprised how many would accept it.
And guess what? I also want is to tell everybody in Denmark that Reptilicus sucks, but you guys don't.
Right, sure.
Well, I know that sounds kind of disrespectful, but
it doesn't, dude. People know.
Like, I would say to Denmark people, you guys are awesome, and I want to drink soda with you guys. I don't drink beer. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Is Denmark beer good?
I'd like to think it's better than most American beer, yes.
Okay, cool. Well, it was nice meeting you, dude, and I hope...
Thank you.
And this is Krueger with a dot, everybody.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.